check this out. This is electric MIDI microphonic crazy guitar. In this video, I'm gonna explain to you exactly what the hell is going on here.
Superficial hue on this pink and mango avenue.
So I'm gonna go over this guitar and show you a bunch of stuff of what's happening here. If I'm missing something or something is not clear, please drop a comment and ask me, and I'll try to respond to the best of my ability. A lot of people are asking me how the hell I'm getting these strange sounds from this guitar, so I'm gonna explain exactly what's going on in this kind of like extreme setup and how I got to this place. If you're into guitar, music, and sound, please subscribe. Please say yes to like. Please share and comment, because I want you to be a part of this community. This is the sound of the guitar. This is just, again, coming from the pickup, the actual humbucker. It's not the original humbucker because somehow I messed it up and I burned it before a gig. So I have a prototype that someone kind of put in there. It's a no-name, but it works, so I don't really mind. This is that sound. This is the sound of the guitar. Now I have a microphone installed, so if I hit this switch here, I have basically, I get slightly, like you hear, a different sound. But except the sound itself that I kind of like, I can blend it in different ways with the actual pickup. So it's more percussion or more pickup. So I kind of like blending it just a little bit, so I have versus. So it's not a lot, but it works. It helps. I can also use this guitar as a little bit of a percussion instrument, so check this out. So basically, I really wanted to have a microphone in the guitar to get an acoustic sound, but it sounded, to say the least, not great. Some would say the word shitty. So I was like, okay, cool, but I still can get like this interesting sounds. I was doing a teaching and a playing residency in India for 3 months, where I actually studied some percussion with a mridangam player, and he was telling me that I should get a sweeter, warmer sound. So that's how the saw kind of got into the mix. And then I was like, oh, kind of cool to have this like snare thing. So maybe I can do like some sounds, and then got this snare. I think actually Ari Honing gave me this snare drum. Yeah, so it's just like kind of a interesting mess that I'm still exploring, but it's fun. And then I can also loop little things like so interesting sounds. One of the questions that people ask me the most is, what is this thing here? So basically there is an oval hole here, which is kind of fun. But first of all, when I use this mic, it gets really bad feedback because it's still a mic. And then we started playing in a lot of bigger venues and much louder on stage, and having the monitors kind of kick into the sound hole was quite a disaster. So I decided to cover the sound hole, and it actually really helps. It's a very simple but effective solution. Except the guitar sound, I also have the MIDI. Ta-da! And I can blend it like I'm doing right now, or it can be also just the MIDI, so that would sound like that. Or blended. Blended with the mic. Blended with the mic and playing better. We have a piezo bridge here, so So this is this sound, and I can blend it with this knob into this output. So as you can see here, there are two outputs. One output is going with the piezo and the pickup, and the second output is just the mic. Yeah, this is a sound. Like you hear, it's brighter. Turn the MIDI off. I can also do just the piezo. That would be that. G. Always want to have a G. We also have these sweethearts, which is these are called pocket operators. They're basically like a kind of a drum thing that you can get different sounds. Then you can play a groove, or it's kind of fun to sometimes have like a little sound adding to the mix, especially if you're looping some stuff and working with a drummer and a lot of singers, and you just want like this like weirdness for a hot moment. Let's go to the pedal board. So speaking of which, I just did a crazy rerouting of my pedal board, as you can see here. I'm gonna do this.
Everything still seems untrue. Everything still seems so move how you want to. Belladonna Blue.
So I actually did it about 3 times in 2 days, cause I just messed it up. And right now, basically, I have 2 inputs that I'm using. This is the main input, and this is the second input of the mic that's going to actually my good friend, the looper.
There is an indefinable, mysterious power, indefinable.
In this looper, I also have a ton of samples that I use, like birds and speeches, that I will mix, or vinyl sounds, or just things that I find that I really like. Here, the pedal board, nothing too crazy. Again, this is the guitar sound. I have the freeze. So this is reverb and delay, nothing crazy, just a little bit of sound. Again, with guitar, one of the problems that I feel is the sound doesn't have a lot of sustain, so this pedal definitely helps it to get a little bit more sustain and therefore more vibe. This is a compression that I sometimes use, not always, the EQ preamp that I sometimes use, distortion. The paw gives me this kind of like organ-like sound. I like it because it really gives a lot of energy at moments that you can't go further with guitar. You know, if you're playing, whether it's in a jazz context or slightly other context, and you want the guitar to be like, ta-da! So this is a really helpful tool for me to kind of like just like bring the energy way above. And I just like that sound. I always liked keys and pianos. I always want my guitar to sound like a piano, so I like this idea of like kind of organ-y sound. The MIDI, I mentioned before that I have MIDI, and this is again the sound of MIDI. So this is just the MIDI, and I'm choosing a kind of like a mellow sound. But in reality, this sound can be anything because MIDI is MIDI. So it could be strings or whatever you want. So for me, I just blend it like a little bit in different sounds with the guitar because this is what I'm hearing. But the reality is that you can really do anything with it, which is kind of wild. The tracking is pretty good. It's, you know, nothing is perfect, nothing is 100% because it is still a pickup, but it's really good, and I'm definitely using it live in shows, so you know, you can check it out. That's the Fishman triple play. Thanks so much for listening, guys. I hope this was interesting and fascinating. I like exploring because I find it very exciting to find new sounds with my instrument. Instead of buying a lot of guitars, I just want to mess around more with what I have and find all the sounds that I can without being too crazy, or maybe it is crazy. Yeah, please send this to someone who needs to see some crazy guitar stuff. Alright, I'll see you guys next week.